maybe that wasn't on his own decision. Maybe that was somebody else's decision too. You know what I mean? Maybe
Well,
he's just
according to
Right.
Tony Khan,
Right.
it was 100% Sting's decision.
well. Listen, come on.
All right, let me mention that we talked about this briefly last week, but Mike Chioda has recently said that he thinks The Undertaker is looking like he's in shape for another match. I know we discussed this just recently. I want to know, well, first of all, Bill, give me your thoughts on the possibility of him actually coming back to WrestleMania. Do you think that's a true possibility?
Well, just for the people who don't know who Mike Chioda is, he was one of WWE's greatest referees. He was absolutely
And he's going to be on our show this Friday on Road Trip After Hours, by the way. He'll be our guest this week.
Great.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Send him my regards, please. Always
Certainly
stand-up guy. But The Undertaker to come back to WrestleMania, I don't know in what form, whether it will be a match, whether it will just be a walk-on and choke slamming and tombstoning somebody like Grayson Waller or somebody like that, or like we talked about on our last episode against Brock Lesnar or someone. We got a lot of comments on that. People saying, why would Lesnar go for that? And I still say that the Undertaker's real revenge would come against Brock Lesnar. I know they had other schmozzes afterwards and all that, but that whole, he ended the streak. But I think he'll be there in some way, shape, or form. And he'll probably do his one-man show in that town in Philadelphia sometime during WrestleMania. I would hope so. It's a great show.
Teddy, we were talking, like Bill mentioned, about Undertaker last week and the possibilities of a WrestleMania match and a story. We kept saying there needs to be a good story there. And after we got off the air, it hit me at the end of his special. He's shown out on his land near the little camp house that he has away from the home. It was a very secluded place, a place where he found peace with his family. And when I saw that originally, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, man, they could come back in and do some story where some guy comes creeping up on his property, getting up into the camp house. And, really, it kind of like what they did with DDP, but not the same thing, because I think it could be really well done. And I think it'd be more along the lines of what Undertaker would look good in right now. Build that heat, build that story, because when he gets in that ring, all he's going to be able to do and all he needs to do is beat the ever-living snot out of whoever it is that's in that ring. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Well, I still agree with the story.
Great idea. I love it.
Definitely need that, but we just have to wait and see, whether Taker is up for that. You know what I mean? I mean, he's been out of action for a little while. His body's healed up now, and I'm sure he feels 100% better than he did. So, you got to wonder, do I want to go back into this pain or, you know what I mean, or how I want to do it. But, I think he's the guy that has to make up his own mind. But I think in it's just him making an appearance would be enough for me. When you hear that dong.
That's why I said.
Yeah, and he steps out there and maybe if he just gives them a little bit of a promo or a tease or something, you know what I mean? Or he could do something where he stepped out, did that promo, and right from behind, Brock drops him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if they want to go with Brock, or we just never know who it might be.
Here's a surprise.
I think it's going to be more of one of the characters, like a Grayson Waller, who would be perfect for a tombstone pile driver.
Right.
Somebody who just takes a move and the match is done.
And like you say, Bill, that would be good. Somebody, maybe he's cutting that promo. Some guy comes from behind, no sells him, turns right around and fucking gives him the deal.
I heard some news this week. I actually didn't hear it. I watched it on TV. I think I watched it. I'm not, and that's part of the question I'm going to have for you in a minute here. But it appears that Sting's last match opponent will be, Teddy, have you heard of this yet before I say it?
No.
Who do you think we should see Sting face one-on-one or in a match for his retirement match? Who would that be? Who
Are you
would?
asking me?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I like I always said that before. I'd like to see him face Chris Jericho.
Now, I agree. I think him, Edge, people like that are great choices. Bill, I know you know where I'm going with this, but the choice
Christian Cage would be a great opponent for him too.
Yeah,
because
he
he's
would
got
do
so
as
much
well.
heat on him at this point. Oh,
But it ends up apparently, because I haven't heard that this is confirmed, they just kind of alluded to the fact by coming out when they asked Sting, who is your final opponent? Who do you choose? Out came, get ready for this, Teddy, the Young Bucks.
But all three of them.
No, just the two brothers.
So what
That's
are you
it. So
Sting
you
and
got
a
I guess it's gonna
three-way?
be-
Is
I
that
guess
what he's
it's going to
saying?
be Sting and Darby, the guy that he's befriended in
Oh,
AEW.
okay. Well, Mac, you got to explain yourself. Okay.
My point being, the choice for his last match are the Young Bucks. You pick a tag team.
Well, maybe that wasn't on his own decision. Maybe that was somebody else's decision too. You know what I mean? Maybe
Well,
he's
according
just
to Tony Khan, it was 100% Sting's decision.
well. Listen, come on.
It surprised me because I was really
The
waiting
Young-
for a
wait a
better
minute, wait a
name
minute,
one-on-one match.
wait a minute.
So who knows
Wait
when
a
Tony
minute. The
Khan's
Young
telling the
Bucks-
truth?
right, but the young Bucks were part of the team that started that company, that started AEW. They were part of that whole group that started that. I think that they probably want to have this spotlight, that it's in the business. Sometimes you're honored to do jobs for people, right, Teddy?
Right.
So
I
I think
understand
the
where you're
Young
going.
Bucks would just be honored. Yeah, I think the Young Bucks would be honored to do the honors for Sting and Darby Allin.
Well, my thing is this. I kind of agree with Matt because that's kind of confusing to me too. Because in the business, Bill, all these, since the beginning, the way a guy has went out, he's went out in singles competition. He's went out with one guy. That one guy makes him look good or however, they want to do that. And the only reason I said because Jericho is one guy that I know he does business. Jericho is all about business. And if Jericho, and if he likes you, and if he likes Sting, and he knows that this is his last ride, Jericho will do everything in his power to make Sting look like $1 million. He'll send him out the way that he needs to go out. But to go out with your last match in a tag team, I just don't understand that.
It seems,
Well, we
this
have
is
time
not
to
a
change
knock
this
on the
yet.
Young Bucks by any means. This really isn't a knock on those guys. It's
No.
it's just kind of like it doesn't fit for me. As a fan of Sting, and I've watched Sting since his early days. For me, that's anticlimactic. It's like watching one of my wife's shows on Lifetime that they have a great build up, and then at the very end, it just lays flat. That's how this felt
Mac,
when
it
I
could
heard
change. It could change. It's not taking place.
And again, I want to bring that up, Bill, because they did say apparently, I was saying that earlier because they never said for sure that was what he was going to choose. They interrupted his, decision. He didn't never say the words out of his mouth. They just came out right before he said their name or whatever name he was going to say. So maybe if we're lucky, we still get that one-on-one match like it should be, like Teddy mentioned. And that's just how it's always been in the business. So it's kind of strange not to see it. Let's see who else I want to talk about.
He and
Hulk
Jericho
Hogan.
would be a fabulous match.
I agree.
Fabulous.
I agree. And I agree with Teddy and what you're saying too. I think that Jericho would put him over and put him over big. The way that I really felt, when he got to WWE, I was looking so forward to that match at WrestleMania. I know the reason that they played out the way it did was because of the storyline between the two companies, but I felt like Sting got just shortchanged a little bit in that match, and I hated that. That's why I want to see this match do something that one couldn't do. That's just me.
The Scorpion Deathlock versus the Wolves of Jericho. It's perfect.
True. And you'll have you can have Bret Hart come in and be the special guest referee because he does the same.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.